Doing all group work this week.
Yeah.
Good.
Okay, so I didn't have a look. I don't really care who did what section. What I actually was just looking at was the work done so I could critique it, so no one takes it personally. What I'm going to recommend is, I'm assuming most groups, they go, you do this section, you do this section, you do this section. I want you guys to stop that. This now becomes a group assignment. So what I want you guys to do is go back and fix sections, but as a group. So get two of you to fix a section that you didn't work on initially, because if you worked on it initially, your head's in that mode. If you guys were to hand a standard like this in, obviously with more in it, you would get about 20%. Okay? So this is why I'm saying you need to get everyone to work together as a team. Pick two of you, pick a different section and go fix everything. Okay? I'm happy to go through this again.
You can check that.
All right. So now, okay, guys, you're going to get lost. You're starting to get really lost in what it is and what's our thing. Remember, this is marketing strategy. What you're looking for to work out a strategy and analyse a strategy. Where is that sheet of paper that tells it to me? You're trying to define its competitive advantage. For me to define, which means, remember, competitive advantage is what do you do really well compared to the rest of your market. You can't actually say, I do this fantastically if I'm not comparing myself to anyone else, unless I'm a monopoly. So what you then need to do is have a look at the rest of the market and how they're doing it, and then what are the factors influencing the market. Then what you look at is what each of the other competitors are doing that are doing really well, and then you start to benchmark yourselves against it and go, actually, we could be doing this better or this better. And so this is where you start, and when you have a look at what you can be doing better, you start breaking down the business model. Okay? When you break down the business model, it's just how do I do business? If I can pick each section and put it into bite-sized pieces, then I can actually see what areas I'm flailing in and what areas we're doing really well in. That's what this whole process is about. Right at the end, you guys explain how they can actually build and successfully deliver competitive advantage. But to do that, you need to understand what they're doing right and wrong, what they could be doing better, right and wrong, what the new business models are doing. You only know that by looking at what the competitors are doing and what the market forces are. Okay? So don't get caught up in this is going to be a marketing plan per se. But, okay, so I won't go there. Now, the other part of it then is your market is charities. It's not just one little place in Vietnam. It is charities. Most charities are for overseas. Oxfam, World Vision, all of those are for the less developed economies. Yours is exactly the same. So, straight up, they are your competitors. So who is doing really, really well there and who isn't? Now, you've also got to look at political interventions for charities. What you're looking for is Australian political interventions for charities. So have a look at, because we're in Australia, don't try and go into Vietnam because I think it's too much problem. Unless there is an issue that 20% of the money that goes to Vietnam is taken by the local government. If that's the case, that is actually a section in your political. So just check that, because I will look for that. But if they get all the money, then the reality is you're too small at the moment that you're only to be fundraising globally. You're only fundraising in Australia, right? So then it is about the political implications for fundraising in Australia for a charity. It doesn't matter where it is. How economic factors impact donations. What are the legal requirements for charities? Because they've set it up here. There are cultural drivers for donating. Now look at how the best charities actually get donations. In the past, 10%, when the Catholic Church was still really strong, so we're looking at the 50s and 60s when post-Reformation. So pre-Reformation, everything was about tithing. You gave 10%. It was kind of an expectation. Nowadays, the boomers changed the way that we donate, and then what's happened is our generation, if you have a look, we don't just donate, right? We get the shits about donating. So what actually happens is Blackmore's Fun Run, the Cure for Cancer, Canteen, Everything is about doing something for us and how we benefit while donating. So it's a whole cultural change movement. Remember in the past it used to be about the Lions Club could ring up and they do telemarketing and we donate. Now, do you guys ever take those phone calls? Because they don't work anymore. There were too many of you guys going up yours and hanging up. Forget it. But these guys need money. So now all of a sudden becomes the interesting part. What are the cultural drivers? Because our boomers are dying. Our builders are dying. So those that are in the, the generational thing, you've got the boomers that came from the 30s and the Depression. Then you've got the baby boomers. Now they're all in the nursing homes and they're dying off. You've got the baby boomers, which we're just starting to see all of them retire, and it's this huge wave of retirement. They're all quite selfish. Everything was about me, but they actually had a lot of money. How are they fundraising and are they giving? Bearing in mind if they're all retiring, how much of their money do they want to give away if the GFC's just hit all of us? And they're all bitching and moaning about they've lost anywhere between 20 and 50% of their super fund and their retirement funds. For them, it's always about, do I actually, or 90% of the time, unless they're very, very wealthy, do I have enough money to actually survive until I die? Because now stats are telling us that we're going to live to 95. Okay, yeah, absolutely. Whereas the boomers, the reason they made retirement age at 65 was because our generation, the population used to die off between around 65, 70. You were lucky you lived to 75. So retirement was at 65. You didn't have, the pension was fine because it would fund you for the next 5 years. But now we're living up to 95 because of health and medical and all of the benefits that we're getting. So the government's getting really worried. So how are they, and the charities need money and they need lots of it. So how are they now fundraising so that they get the benefits? Because you've got two very different generations. Gen Y is about instant. You guys are all about selfish. You guys are all about why do I have to? Gen Xers, that's me. We're like the sandwich generation. We had to pay for our own HECS. So we're kind of in between. We haven't really made lots of money. We're just starting to sort of make some, but we're looking after our parents. And, there's all of these issues. And we're kind of like, well, hang on a minute, why am I going to give to charities? Like a lot of my friends won't give to charities unless, one, they get a benefit from it, or we want to know where all the money's going. So each demographic has a different attitude to charities. You guys need to find all of these out. You almost need to break it out. They're your three different markets. Okay? So this is how you start segmenting. But you're only going to know that by starting to do research. You've got a week. I would say it takes me probably 16 hours, so 2 days, of solid research to do segmentation. It might take you guys 4 days. But just do it, because if you get it right, then you're fine. Also, the economic